So last night I watched some of the debate and I switched back and forth to the Fox News town hall with Trump. I didn't even know there was a debate until my two co-moderators from the last debate, Eliana and Elizabeth, texted me saying, "Are you watching this?" I was like, "Oh shit, I forgot there's a debate." I'm not gonna lie, I found it kind of boring. I missed Vivek and Christie. I did, because they stir things up, it's like they kept it fiery, and I was a little bored, and just watching the two of them nitpick and argue, they were kind of annoying. I just didn't like the way I felt. It was just like, well, you back and forth, DeSantisLies.com. Anyway, I didn't have a lot of tolerance for it. Then you go over to Trump, and it was a very different experience. He was on. He brought his A game. He was funny. He was magnanimous. He was sort of making fun where it was appropriate. And look, to be honest, Brett and Martha did not ask him a lot of tough questions. They had a couple, but so it was an easy forum for him to charm people. And the audience was full of Trump supporters, and charm them he did. So part of it, guys, to me was like underscored the intelligence of Trump's decision to skip all the debates, where like the rest of the candidates will just be fighting with each other, about each other, and he will be above it all, being charming, dealing directly with the voters, not getting asked the toughest questions, and sailing his way to the nomination. So what did you guys think?
Look, I think your overall explanation of what it is that you experienced as a viewer is probably what the vast majority of Americans experienced as viewers, if they chose to view either of these things at all. Right. Both Haley and DeSantis obviously would love the contrast to be able to do a town hall on Fox while their opponents are tearing each other apart. So, clearly former President Trump had a huge advantage in terms of just what it all looked and felt like. I mean, he's talking about stuff he wants to talk about and doing it in a comfortable arena, whereas, these guys, they're in a blood sport battle at this point. But I do think, the hype coming into it, I agree with you. It's almost like, oh, that's right, there was a debate tonight. I mean, all the other ones previously, there was some build to, and there was some anticipation for. And this one, it didn't feel like, and I don't think it's just because the stage got smaller. It's that, boy, these arguments are pretty well litigated at this point.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a good point. Is it feels like this primary has been going on for 5 years at this point.
It does.
And I think everyone has basically, all the candidates have had their opportunity to basically shape themselves as, I'm the candidate of this, I'm the candidate of this. And you saw that on display last night at the debate between Haley and DeSantis, where, they're essentially, like you said, making the same argument over and over. I tuned in specifically because I think it's a bit more unique of a situation than Trump has faced before, where going into Iowa, essentially it's Trump and two people fighting to go one-on-one with him. Mm-hmm. In 2016, there were still 40 people going into Iowa?
Yeah.
Same in New Hampshire. So, if this field winnows even further, then I think things really get interesting.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Smug, you're absolutely 100% right. The visual and the demonstration, if you're Nikki or you're Ron, yeah, you don't love that Trump got his solo town hall at the same time you were doing this. But who would have thought, before Iowa, we basically have the consensus beat. It's one of these two people, right, who are going to go mano a mano with Donald Trump. So, I mean, you got to feel good that it's working out that way if you're in either of those two camps, because we're going to get some votes here really soon, and there's going to be some actual truth to who that candidate is going to be.
No question.
Yeah, but as a spectator, I mean, I think all of us would be lying if we said we weren't disappointed that Donald Trump's not participating in these debates. I mean, he is very good. We all saw that play out in Technicolor in 2015. But you have heard it, Megyn. We've heard this over and over from the Trump team, Susie Wiles and Chris LaCivita. They say we're running to win an election, not to entertain people. And that sort of discipline is something that is not entirely new. It's a little bit new in the Trump campaign. And it's probably one of the secrets to their success this time around.
Yes. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So Christie was not on the stage because he announced yesterday at 5 that he's dropping out. Here's a little bit of how that sounded in SOT 2.
And it's clear to me tonight that there isn't a path for me to win the nomination, which is why I'm suspending my campaign tonight for President of the United States because I want to promise you this. I am going to make sure that in no way do I enable Donald Trump to ever be President of the United States again. And that's more important than my own personal ambition.
So what's that about? I mean, first of all, Christie was desperate to have a job with Trump and was very much in Team Trump's camp until Trump kind of turned on him. So I like Christie. I still think he's a good man. And I just, his moral sanctimony for me is a little bit much because he was begging to work for Trump. If you don't think he would have taken the position as AG in the Trump administration, you haven't been paying attention. But Jared Kushner can't stand him because he put Jared Kushner's dad in prison when he was AG of New Jersey. Anyway, whatever. They all find sanctimony in the end. So he bails. 2024 is here. Sorting through your expense tracking, estimated payments, and all those deductions is overwhelming. It might lead to a failure to file or a failure to pay penalties that pile up on your tax debt. But you can check out Tax Network USA. The attorneys at Tax Network USA have been lifesavers for many. Their team has successfully saved clients over $1 billion in tax debts. Whether you're in the hole for 10 grand or staring at a $10 million debt, they're ready to help you. Even if you haven't filed in 1 to 5 years or a whole decade, the expert attorneys and tax pros at Tax Network USA are equipped to secure the best settlement for you and to help you resolve all tax cases, no matter how they started. Go to taxnetworkusa.com/Megyn or just call 1-800-245-6000. But contact them now as these tax debt relief programs are expected to change. taxnetworkusa.com/Megyn or call 1-800-245-6000 and tell them Megyn Kelly sent you there. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.